The San Francisco 49ers continue to be majorly disrespected, and I don't really get it, to be honest. I guess I just can't see beyond these red and gold glasses here, but fear not, this isn't all bad news. Recently, another former 49er spoke out against some of the disrespect, and you gotta see it. If you're new here, my name is Nate, and we are talking the San Francisco 49ers every single day on this channel, so make sure you subscribe for daily San Francisco 49ers content, all of the good stuff. We also have lots of conversations in the chat, community posts, etc. It's a great time, so make sure you're subscribed. Well, before we get to all of the hate on the PFF rankings and some of the fallout from there, let's give some credit where credit's due. PFF did rank nicely in some categories, starting with the running back category. And this is kind of a duh one, because how do you not rank Christian McCaffrey number one in the running back position? I mean, it's just obvious. It's in the way that the 49ers utilize him, it's obvious. But unquestionably the best running back of the season ahead of 2024. McCaffrey's been by far and away the most productive running back in the NFL for the past 2 seasons, and he's dominated once again in 2023. I want you to notice the word past 2 seasons. That's going to come back later in the video with another individual. But he led the league with a career-high 1,459 rushing yards and added a league-leading 21 touchdowns in the process, earning a 90.6 grade, the second highest in the NFL. The former Panther was the ultimate workhorse too. His 339 touches from scrimmage led the league, and despite the lofty workload, his efficiency was excellent. McCaffrey averaged 5 yards per carry and caught 67 passes for 564 yards. No disagreement there, obviously. No surprise there, obviously. Tight end rankings, George Kittle leads the way. NFL's highest graded tight end in 2023 at 87.7 overall, while Travis Kelce finished second at 82.6. Kittle's run blocking grade also dwarfed Kelce's, 81.1 to 46.9. Take that, Taylor Swift, and take that, Kansas City, what are those people called when they just jump on the bandwagon? I mean, come on, let's go. Let's see here. Linebacker, Fred Warner, sits atop the list. Warner continues his reign as NFL's top linebacker as the captain of the 49ers defense. Gold standard at linebacker over the past 4 seasons, ranking as one of the position's 10 highest graded players each year. His 8 combined pass breakups and interceptions in the regular season and playoffs in 2023 were tied for the second most among linebackers. How do you not put him at number 1? So again, not wildly surprised here. Moving on, of course, yet another legend right here. Trent Williams in a class of his own. The future Hall of Famer remaining the gold standard at the position as he put together another elite season in 2023 despite struggling with an ankle injury. His 92.5 PFF grade ranked among second among offensive tackles last year, and he was the only player at the position to earn run blocking and pass blocking grades above 84. Okay, love it. Again, we're having no problems with these rankings so far. Then we get to wide receivers. And here, you feel mostly good about it. I feel mostly good about it. Let me know in the comments if you don't feel mostly good about it. But the only team to have 2 wide receivers make it into the top 10, of course, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. I believe Ayuk was ranked 8. Yes, sir. And Deebo at 10. And the only reason Ayuk sits at 8, in my opinion, is because there are so many other weapons. He doesn't get as many targets as a lot of these guys here, like CeeDee Lamb destroyed him in targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown destroyed him in targets. So, you get why maybe it's a little bit different for this team. And even Tyreek Hill, they have other great wide receivers. Obviously, they just signed up Jalen Waddle. But, while they have all these extra guys, they also throw the ball way more than the 49ers do. So, anyway, I'm not going to qualm with this one. I'm good with it. Both guys make the type 10. I like that. I'm gonna move forward, okay? When we get to the edge defender rankings, and this one is where it starts to get a little bit controversial. So, coming in first, you have Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and then Nick Bosa. Saying Bosa was close to Garrett and Parsons in pass rush grade in 2023, and in his 21.8% pass rush win rate, ranked 4th in the league behind Garrett, Parsons, and Bryce Huff. Bosa is a consistently dominant force every year. Well, then why are you really downgrading him because of only 2023, in which he had a great season, but maybe you could call it not elite compared to his previous season? So, great article, by the way. William Frost talked about it. Edge rusher Nick Bosa has undoubtedly proven himself as one of the premier forces in the NFL over the last 3 seasons. Bosa has accumulated an impressive 44.5 sacks from 50 games, solidifying his reputation among the league's elite. Yet, as we approach the 2024 season, this recent ranking has sparked debate. Trevor Sikkema of Pro Football Focus recently weighed in on NFL's top pass rushers, and surprisingly, Bosa did not top the list. Instead, Sikkema's position of Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons ahead of Bosa. In his analysis, he acknowledges Bosa's exceptional performance, but suggests a slight edge in favor of others. So remember, we were talking about Christian McCaffrey, and we go multiple seasons back for him. But when we get to Nick Bosa, we don't go multiple seasons for Nick Bosa. We're just going to really focus on 2023, and we're going to let these other guys, hop ahead. He already read that, so I'm not going to read that again. Sikkema highlights Bosa's high performance, yet places him just behind his contemporaries in specific statistical metrics. The positioning has led discussions whether PFF's assessment might undervalue Bosa's impact on the field. I agree with that 100%. While rankings are inherently subjective and often based on a mix of qualitative assessments and quantitative metrics, Bosa's track record speaks volumes of his capabilities. A pass rush win rate of 21.8% and a grade close to the very best reflect a player at the peak of his powers, consistently influencing games and often altering offensive game plans single-handedly. Is Nick Bosa the best pass rusher heading into 2024? Opinions may vary. While some might argue that Garrett and Parsons edge him out, many will contend that Bosa's overall impact and consistency should earn him a top spot. Regardless of rankings, Bosa's importance to the 49ers cannot be overstated, and his performance in the upcoming season will be crucial. Obviously. I think there was one more nice, interesting one here. Nick Bosa remains one of the most formidable and influential defensive players in the league. As the 2024 season unfolds, he will undoubtedly continue to showcase why he is considered top tier regardless of how the metrics stack him against his peers. For Bosa and the 49ers, the ultimate goal remains clear: advancing to and winning the Super Bowl, a stage where the true legends are made and remembered. Okay, before we move on to the next one, I want to just do a quick question of the day on this one, because I want to know your thoughts on this one. Question of the day: are they right about Nick Bosa? Does he belong to be below Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons? Does one great season knock him off his perch despite his previous elite performance and defensive player of the year and all that good stuff? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Is Nick Bosa right to be ranked here? We've got to get on to the next one though, however, so let's move on. We've already talked a little bit about this, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but as we remember, quarterback Brock Purdy was absolutely snubbed in this particular section here. Again, don't really get the whole tier thing. The tier thing is kind of weird, but you've got Patrick Mahomes at the top. I respect that, completely respect that. You can't really argue too much about that. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford even could be in conversations for in that top 10 range, so I have no problem with that in general. Aaron Rodgers as well. Some of the movement, though, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, even he has some arguments at times to be ranked higher than Brock Purdy, but I just don't see how you don't put Brock Purdy, firstly, how you don't put him in the top 10. He's a top 10 quarterback. This is ridiculous to snub him at 13. We'll talk in a minute about another ranking that has him even lower. I'll tell you what that is in a second. But to put Jordan Love above him right now, after Jordan Love's second half of the season where he's really started to figure things out, but has not proven it over the course of an entire season yet, I'm just not crazy about that. And this great article by Patrick Holloway kind of opens up into some of this, but part of it, he talks about what Emmanuel Sanders said on Kay Adams' show, and that's what I want to get to first, and then we'll kind of go into some of his points, which I think is really helpful. So here's the quote right here in the middle of what Emmanuel Sanders had to say. I don't think that's a fair spot. As far as Purdy, I just don't understand why people just keep sleeping on him. I was talking to Debo last year about Purdy, and I said, man, what is it about Purdy? And he said, man, you should see him in the huddle. He comes in the huddle. He plays with a certain confidence. He comes in, he believes, he makes other guys believe. He makes other guys believe. This is Brock Purdy. This is Mr. Irrelevant. This is last pick of the draft coming into the huddle, making guys believe. That tells you something about his character, let alone his actual gameplay. I've played with quarterbacks like that, and that's the type of guy that the Niners have. I mean, last year, he was a couple of plays from being a Super Bowl champion. Would that ranking still be the same? Everything I'm hearing is just keep sleeping on Purdy. He's going to keep proving them wrong. But man, what a heck of a story to go from Mr. Relevant to being relevant and going to the Super Bowl last year. And I'm rooting for Purdy. I hope they finish it this year, and go win it all. Amazing that he was then put in by Chris Sims over at Pro Football Talk at 17. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. 17. You guys, like, what is happening right now? What is happening? I want to talk about one of the things Emmanuel Sanders said, and then I'm going to read part of this article too, because I think Holloway makes some great points here. But I love this part. He makes other guys believe. This is really key, because I remember, I've seen several times, we've all seen several times, quarterbacks who were great leaders do things that were above their talent level. Okay? Now, bear with me here. I'm about to say a name that's controversial. Tim Tebow. 8-8 Tim Tebow led the Denver Broncos to the playoffs purely through the will and leadership. That was it. He was out there. He believed he could do it. He believed the team could do it, and he found ways to make it happen. And it looked like this was before, of course, the NFL had a string of running quarterbacks that were actually making it successfully transition from college to the NFL, being able to still run the ball. And in this era, this tight little section of time where maybe had Tim Tebow been like 4 years later, he would have had a better shot at being a quarterback in this league. Whatever the case is, whatever you feel about Tim Tebow, who just did not have the talent, let's be honest about it, he didn't have the talent to be a great quarterback in the NFL. He did have these leadership qualities that he had one shot in the NFL. That one 8-8 season is the only season where a team actually gave him the leadership role and gave him a shot. And he was able to put together a rough and tumble 8-8 season, but get the team into the playoffs just through strong will and leadership. And to take a guy like Purdy, who does have the talent, and give him that kind of give him that kind of opportunity to be a leader, and for him to actually step into it and actually pull it off as a last pick of the draft kind of guy. How do you take that guy and rank him as low as you do? Because he's got it all. He has the gameplay. Understood. Maybe he doesn't have the legs that you get excited about, but he's still wildly impressive. And you put him against guys like Matthew Stafford. I'd take his legs over Stafford's any day. And there's so many guys on that list. I would take his legs over them. He's like top 10 in 10-12 in running the ball in general, because quarterbacks just, they don't do that a whole lot. And when they do, a lot of times, they're doing the little baby slide and they're really nervous about, 4 yards, and they don't have the pace. They don't have the timing. He has pace and timing. I'm always impressed. He can make guys miss, which always surprises me because he doesn't look wildly athletic, but he is wildly athletic. All that being said, I love that little pick here from Emmanuel Sanders to say he also makes guys believe, which is really important. And he's got guys like Debo believing in him. And that's something that's pretty special there. Purdy basically checked every box that people wanted him to check in 2023, but then they moved their goalposts almost instantly. I don't know if it's because he's making people look bad, pure stubbornness, or whatever. I did think he might have a low ceiling, but was proven wrong since we saw him get even better as the year went on. As for 2024, Purdy is primed for a career year, and I do think he can take the Niners to win it all, thanks to the experience he had the previous year and most of his offense returning. It won't be easy, especially with the difficulty of going back-to-back Super Bowls, but I think Purdy will be a reason they get it done. Wow. Big reason. Okay. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This was a super long video. Sorry for going so long. If you made it here to the very end, you are a legend. Comment below and be like, I made it to the end. Let us know, because we're all going to be very impressed with you for sticking around for 14.5 minutes. As always, I'm feeling optimistic about this despite the hate that they're getting. What a time to be alive.